So I'm always envious when people go back home in the rural areas, especially here in South Africa. And something that stood out for me is what we call the African hut, or here in South Africa, we call it the rondavel. And the rondavel is something that's been there ever. I don't know why they don't break them down and just create new homes. But it seems like the rondavel has a very sacred thing. I've never been inside a rondavel. Can you believe that?
Neither have I. So actually, I have been inside a rondavel.
Yeah, I've been inside of a rondavel. It's those, what do you call them? Those like simulated
like at a lodge or
something like that. That's not a rondavel.
Yeah. That's not the real thing.
No, that's not the real thing.
I've been to inside a rondavel a long time ago in primary school. I was in grade 6 and we had a trip to Durban. And one of the stops, or one of the places that we're going to stay, is a place called Shaka Land, where they shot the Shaka Zulu movie. There's a little section there where, it's an educational trip and, kids can sleep there. So we sleep in like traditional rondavels, but also as we move about in that area, they really, it's a simulation of like old school traditional Zulu life. Right. And of course, there are rondavels made the right way over there.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about their construction, because it's very, very unique how it's actually made. It's always in that circular shape.
Yes.
And apparently what I've heard from some people is that the circle means spirituality for us as Africans. It means that it's actually a symbol of something spiritual. So whenever you see something that's circular in many historical spaces on the African continent, the circle is not just something that is a coincidence.
Yes.
Apparently the circle, because it's a home, it was designed in that circle because of that spiritual, symbolistic viewpoint, right, from Africans. But also the materials are very interesting in there. They use a lot of mud plaster. At times that's on the walls, right? And on the floor there's a lot of mud plastering as well. But to keep that surface insulated, I think they use cow dung as well.
They do.
How's the smell? Did you smell cow dung?
Yeah, actually, it doesn't really smell. That's the thing, because cows eat grass, right? And it's not really something toxic. So it's not like the food that we eat. And once cow dung dries up, it doesn't have a strong smell anymore.
Yeah, so that's also infused with like wood, twigs, branches, so you can get that structural framework that's part of the mud formula. So that's a very interesting thing. But have you also noticed it's not just one hut in each homestead? There's usually around 3.
Yeah.
And it's not like coincidental that everyone lives in each of those rondavels or African huts. They all play a significant role. Well, one would be for living in the olden times, but people have actually constructed new homes now. But rondavels still play a beautiful part of their living, even when they've constructed new homes. They don't get rid of the rondavels at all. Yeah. So one can be for living in. Another one is usually functional, whereby it's an area where women are central in those ones.
Like a kitchen.
It's a kitchen of sorts, and that's where, not just a kitchen, but that's where women usually come together. It's got multiple functions. It's a gathering. It can be an offbeat gathering, but also for women, but it's also an eating environment as well. But there's other rondavels that also play a spiritual role. Usually they have a lower entrance, and those ones are for spiritual practices.
Yes.
So you don't practice spiritual practices directly in your home where you sleep. You usually set that spiritual practice in a different rondavel.
In the Zulu language, that's called indumba.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we call it. So, and the thing I've noticed, because we live in the urban areas, and so you can't really find a lot of rondavels here. But if you find people who have enough yard space, there's some people who have also created rondavels in their own backyards here in the city to use for the purpose of their spiritual practices. So those indumbas in their home where they can go and pray or praise their gods or their ancestors.
Sure. So
in
do
those
they
particular
simulate
spaces.
the exact one that's from...
No, I don't think they simulate the exact one, the traditional one, obviously with the mud and the dung, etc. But I think it's more of a simulation, meaning the shape, the look of it, obviously with more modern materials, but used for that, traditional aspects. I think what really catches me about these rondavels or these huts that are quite traditional, the circular shape may represent spirituality, as you said, but I've heard that these are actually architectural geniuses, meaning Africans have always been architectural geniuses. The circle shape of the rondavel all across the continent didn't just serve a spiritual purpose, but it's actually an architectural intention, being cooler because of the circle shape where the air moves in and out. The doors and the windows.
Thatch roof is there as well,
the thatch roof,
to accommodate the thatch roof structure.
And the doors and windows placed quite strategically, so the place stays cool within the summers and warm during the winters.
I mean the windows, if you want to call them that, are spaced in a way that is always going to accommodate the sun. And so where the sun is most of the time, that's probably where the window is. So definitely the compass was a significant way of actually designing the African hut or the rondavel. But we've run out of time. We can speak so much on the rondavel. Did you know that some genders sleep in different spaces in the rondavel, that the woman probably sleeps in one part? Apparently, women sleep in one side and the women sleep on the other side, and children are located at a particular side of the rondavel. You can't just go in any area of the rondavel. There's a whole hierarchy even within the system of the hierarchy. So that's how we wrap up our Vintage Africa today. It seems like we both enjoyed it, and it was informed by both of us this time around, which was fantastic. So that's how we wrap it up. Have you stayed in an African hut? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +27 63 406 9126, +27 63 406 9126.